Hi, thanks for watching my video. So today we're going to build like a 2-in-1 Japanese style grocery store and arcade. And I wish this was my idea, but it isn't. I was completely inspired to do this from another video I saw from another YouTuber called Pixel Fro. So I'll leave a link to her channel in the description. You should definitely check her out. If you like this, you'll like her. She's got some really cool builds. So definitely would recommend. I'll also leave a link to her Tumblr page as well, so that if you want to get your hands on the custom content, then that's where you can go and get it. That's where I got all this stuff from. She has like a page with her version of a Japanese style build, and then a list of all of the custom content she used. So yeah, if you like this video, then go and check out what she's about. So anyway, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Usually when I'm doing a voiceover, which I don't do very often because I don't do that many speed builds anymore, but usually I just talk about what I've been up to. But what with what's been happening and all that, at the moment there isn't really anything new. I would just end up talking about which Simpsons episode I watched that day. So I thought instead I'd talk about a specific topic, and that topic is the worst job I've ever had. And I reckon some of you might be able to relate. Mainly because this is the type of job that I know a lot of people have done, and it's a good job for some people, but not for me. For me, it was the worst. Okay, and this is coming from someone who spent a summer working at Burger King and accidentally set the place on fire. That didn't even reach the top. Okay, this one is the worst. So, once upon a time, I worked in a call centre. It was just a normal call centre. It was like, just taking customer calls. I'm sure you can imagine it. I'm sure some of you have done it before. It was just like a temporary job. I kind of thought, oh, how hard could it be? It's pretty easy. Just take calls all day. It'd be fine. It was shit. It was really shit. Not necessarily even just because of the job. And those of you that are listening, if you have worked in a call centre before, you probably will know a lot of what I'm going to talk about. And it's not really just about taking calls or, things like that. I mean, some of it is, to be honest. I thought when I remember when I took the job, I remember thinking, oh, I'll be fine, time will fly by because I'll be on the phone all day. But it didn't, because it was like between 50 and 100 calls a day, and they were like all 3-minute calls. So time didn't fly by. It actually went really, really slowly. It was one call after the other. As soon as you put the phone down, it rang again. You'd end up saying the same scripted greeting like however many times until you got sick of the sound of your own voice. Just non-stop talking for like 8 hours a day. But the thing that I don't really like about call centres is the way, and again, I will reiterate that I know that this works for some people, okay? It just didn't work for me. But the amount of pressure that's put on people, it's like the one I worked in, for example, you had to obviously take calls, but then you had to fill out information about who was calling and the reason why they were calling. But it was quite inefficient because you had to do it in 3 different systems. But because they didn't want anyone to ever be on not ready on the phones, it kind of meant that you had to do all of that while you were on the phone. So you're kind of like half listening to what the customer is saying and then half trying to type really quickly just to get all of the information on there. So you don't really end up listening that much to the customer. And they encourage you to make small talk, which, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I think it's okay, but try asking a British person how they're doing today, because they'll probably just say, none of your fucking business. I think it was more, not the job itself. I think it was more that I think there's a lot that could be done to make it a more pleasant environment for people that are working there, So, for example, where I worked, I don't know if this is the same for everybody, we had 2 15-minute breaks a day, and we also had a half-hour lunch every day. And the way that the office was really strange. It wasn't like, the company wasn't its own office. It was a suite within a massive building, and they didn't have any bathrooms in the office suite, if that makes sense. So anytime you had to go to the bathroom, you would have to leave the premises, walk to the other side of the massive building, and then get back. And you weren't really supposed to be, you know, like, you couldn't go to the bathroom if you weren't on your break or anything, unless you were desperate. But even then, like, you can't really work that way. The general expectation is that you just go on your break. One day I timed myself because I wanted to figure out how quickly I could physically get to the bathroom and get back. And I worked out that I could, if I walked really quickly, I could go to the bathroom and come back in 10 minutes, leaving me 2 minutes to buy a banana and 3 minutes to eat it. So, I mean, it wasn't great, like the strict time scales, and obviously you can't be like a minute late or anything. A minute late is still late, so a lot of rules. On the bright side, though, I will say they did have like casual dress code, which was nice, because everywhere else that I've worked has been extremely professional. You know, you wear suits. The last place I worked was very strict in that everyone had to wear, well, I say everyone, men had to wear a suit every day. And on Dress Down Fridays, all Dress Down Fridays meant for men was that they were allowed to not wear a tie. So they had to wear the same thing they wore Monday to Friday, but, you know, they didn't have to wear a tie. So pretty laid back, if you ask them. So that was one good thing, is that it was quite casual dress code. One of my colleagues once wore a BDSM dog collar to work and no one batted an eyelid. So, you know, praise where praise is due, but it was shit. I think every company has a choice when it comes to the kind of environment they want to provide their employees. And this one, I didn't realise it at the time, but looking back, like, the rules were so ridiculous. It was like they didn't allow anyone to have their phones while they were at work, because they said it was for security reasons, which, let's be honest, it was just to stop people from playing games on their phone. And we like couldn't have our own bags. We were given like clear bags so that everyone could like see what was inside our bag to be in line with like security regulations. And we had to walk through like I don't know what they're called, like a security gate thing, you know, the thing you get at airports where you have to put your bag in a like a tray and then walk through this machine that buzzes whether or not you've got metal on you. You had to walk through that every time you went into the office, and considering the bathroom was outside of the office, it meant that you'd be walking through it like 4 times a day. And yeah, just loads and loads of rules, which at the time I kind of thought, well, this is fine, you know, security, rules is rules, I get it. But obviously since then I've worked in other companies, lots of other companies, and realised that actually they don't have to do it that way, because lots of offices, they don't like tell you can't have your phone on your desk, and they, you know, they don't have the same sort of rules. So now that I know, looking back, that none of it was compulsory, it was all a choice made by the business, it just kind of made me feel a bit disappointed, because I thought, well, you know, I get where you're coming from, like you don't want people to take the piss. And there's always a risk. There's always going to be a risk that some employees will take the piss, sure. But I do think it's better to take the risk of, you know, a handful of people being dicks and taking the piss in order to provide a nicer working environment than to just assume that everyone is going to take the piss and treat everyone like a child. Because all you're going to do is just, you're going to make all of the good ones want to leave. And then, you know, I mean, in particular with this place, their retention rate was really bad. Their turnover was awful. Like, people left. I think they lost, like, I mean, it was a big call centre, but they lost a lot of people. They would recruit, like, 20 people in a go, and the training would be, like, 2 weeks, and by the end of the 2 weeks, they'd have maybe 6 people left, just because of how unnecessary the rules were. And to be honest, it's the only call centre I've ever worked at. I've worked at other places sort of similar, but not a call centre. So if you've ever worked at a call centre, and I'm sure a lot of people have because it's quite a common job, let me know what your experience was like, and also if you agree or if you think I'm being too much of a pussy-hole here, because I could be. I don't really know the biz that well, but to me it just all seems very unnecessary. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I might be saying all this and some of you might be thinking, well, they have to do it because of this, but I don't really see it. I just don't, because I've worked at other places similar and they haven't had to enforce such unnecessary rules that don't seem to use any common sense, you know? I feel like, what's the point in employing someone if you're not going to trust them? I think it's better to trust people and have them take the piss and then let them go than to just make everyone feel like they're already in trouble when they haven't done anything wrong. I think it breeds a really bad behaviour. And also, I think if you're treating everyone like they're guilty or like they're at high school, then surely they're more likely to want to behave like they are. Because, I don't know, I think that's just a thing, isn't it? If you treat someone a certain way for long enough, they'll just start behaving that way. I don't know, I might be wrong. But yeah, that's the worst job I've ever had. Let me know about your experiences in call centres. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.